Welcome back to our PS classes in our second chapter of the playlist English Grammar. The first chapter which we learned was about sentences, and the second chapter, which is the most basic chapter, is subject and predicate. The first chapter which we learned was the sentences, and if I take a quick revision, then the sentences were of four kinds. And what were they? They were assertive sentences, interrogative sentences, imperative sentences, and the fourth one was exclamatory sentences, right? Those sentences which declare something are known as assertive sentences. Those sentences which ask the reader something is known as interrogative sentences. The sentences which request or command something, they are known as imperative sentences, and the sentences which have a strong emotion or feelings in their action is known as exclamatory sentences, right? In case if you want the PDF or any kind of screen share video, then you can check my first video. Coming back to the second chapter. Our second chapter, the name of the most basic chapter is subject and predicate, right? What is subject? Now let me take an example. Okay, when we make a sentence, we have take a example of this sentence. Okay, there is a sentence. We name some person or thing, right? Our second sentence is say something about that person or thing. In other words, we must have a subject to speak about, and we must say or predicate something about that subject. What does that mean? It means that we have something to speak about, right? We have this thing, this is known as subject, and we need to speak about the subject, something. We need to speak something about the subject. And we have to predicate something. We must have to say something about the subject. So, in case we have to say or predicate something about the subject, that is known as predicate, right? So we have subject as well as predicate in this English grammar. Hence, every sentence has two parts. The part which names the person or thing which we are talking about, this is called the subject of the sentence, right? And the part which tells something about the subject. It tells something about the subject. This is called the predicate of the sentence. The part which names that what is the name of this thing or person, then this thing or person is known as subject, and anything we must tell about something about this subject, that is known as predicate, right? The subject of a sentence usually comes first, but occasionally it is put after the predicate, as here comes the bus. The bus is the subject here, and here comes is the predicate. What we are speaking about? We are speaking about the bus, and hence after the bus is the subject, the rest of the sentence which we are going to say about is known as here comes, which is known which we are predicating about the subject, so it is a predicate. Second sentence, sweet are the uses of adversity. What is the subject here? Tell me. Sweet are the uses of adversity. Adversity is the subject and sweet are the uses of is predicate, because adversity is something which we are speaking about, and sweet are the uses is something that what we are speaking about the subject is known as predicate, right? In imperative sentence, the subject is left out. Remember in the last video I told you that there are four kinds of sentences. See, here comes the most important part. In that video I told you about that something that declares something is known as what kind of sentences were there? Assertive. Second was interrogative, in which the sentences interrogates us, that is known as interrogative sentence, and the third sentence was imperative sentence. What are imperative sentences? Imperative sentences are those sentences which tells you or commands you or requests you, what do? They either tell, they don't tell us basically. Sorry, they don't tell us. They normally they give us order or they request us. What they do? Either they order us or they command us, right? So in kind of imperative sentences, the subject is left out. Say, for an example, if I'm telling you sit down or shut up, I don't tell you now you shut up. We don't use that. You must shut up. We always face you and say shut up. Either either your mother says you go bring the glass of water. Then if you are generally one child, then she must not tell you na, that listen, you please bring one glass of water. She won't say you. She will say you like she will ask you about one glass of water. So in case she is commanding you, right? So in kind of imperative sentences, sometimes it's not sometimes it's every time generally that the subject is left out. Like in these sentences, sit down. Who sit down? You, me, who? It's sit down. Here, the subject you. We understand the subject behind this is only the word you. So instead of repeating this or instead of uh, pointing this subject you in English grammar, we generally omit it. Thank him. Who will thank him? You must thank him. That's why the subject is you. So here we automatically understand, or this understanding sense comes to us when we speak about the imperative sentences. In this kind of imperative sentences, every time the subjects are omitted. Omitted, no, they are not represented. No, they are not shown in the sentence only because we get to know now that who they are talking about. It's about you, and generally in English language, this you word in case of repeating or any kind of like that, you is not repeated. You is not uh, you is not used generally. Okay. So now here is our second chapter, subject and predicate. It was just a very short chapter, subject and predicate. It basically provides you the idea, a basic idea of English grammar. First, the most basic chapter was the sentence, which I told you in the previous video, and this is the most basic chapter, which is the second chapter, the subject and predicate. Now here you will get some exercises, and in our next video I shall solve all the exercises for you. Okay. So thanks for watching, and in case of any doubt, then do ask me. Thank you.